Changes to Columbia's trash and recycling services begin tomorrow.
Plus, I have a Show Me Climate report. We're going to do a winter check-in so far. Plus, we got a big roller coaster trying to talk about in our forecast. That's coming up.
Plus, as teachers and staff anxiously await a COVID-19 vaccine, one Columbia group is helping them stay safe. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, we've been talking trash for months, and now the changes are finally here. Next time you head to the curb in Columbia, there are new rules to follow. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us tonight. So starting tomorrow, there's that new trash and recycling system the city hopes will help cut down on waste. This new change has Columbia residents not sure what to think of it. Starting tomorrow, the city is requiring people to use City of Columbia specific trash bags. Each household receives 52 trash bags every 6 months. If families need more, they will have to pay $10 for 5 bags. One Columbia man says he is trying to have a positive outlook through all of this.
For what we've done is we've started doing what? You know what we do?
Recycling.
Yeah, we start recycling more, which of course they have the bags, and then we started composting too, right?
Yeah.
And that's honestly cut down our bag output by half.
On top of the trash bag changes, recycling pickup will also start up again tomorrow, but will only be picked up bi-weekly. The City of Columbia mailed out postcards this week with information on the return of curbside recycling collection. It lists the weeks you can expect crews to pick up your recycling.
One of the big weather stories across the nation today has been talking about this winter storm that's coming up in the First Alert Full Forecast, Emily.
Okay, thanks, Kenton. After a weekend of mass vaccination sites, those in Tier 3 of Phase 1B are anxiously awaiting their turn to get a COVID-19 vaccine. And educators are just some of those allowed to get the vaccine in that next tier. KOMU 8's Sydney Moran is live in the newsroom to show us how one Columbia group is keeping teachers and staff safe while they wait, Sydney.
Emily, the Como Mass Bank has made a name for itself in Columbia Public Schools. It says it had a big day to end a big week. The Como Mass Bank held a drive-through where teachers, janitors, and anyone exposed to students received 3 free KN95 masks. We have a link to that Facebook page on our website at KOMU.com. In the newsroom, Sydney Moran, KOMU 8 News.
Okay, thanks, Sydney. CPS students and teachers have been back in the classroom now for about 2 weeks. So let's take a look here at the district's 14-day rate per 10,000 people. The COVID-19 tracker shows the cases have been trending down since in-person classes resumed. As of Friday, that rate was 60. That's a 14-point decline from when in-person classes picked back up on the 19th. Right now, 50 staff members are in quarantine. 3 have COVID-19. There are more than 400 students in quarantine and 52 currently have the virus. Taking a look now at your latest COVID-19 numbers here in Missouri. Statewide, more than 1,000 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The total number of cases since the start of the pandemic now sits at more than 450,000 in Missouri. No new COVID-19 related deaths were reported today. Today also marks the 3rd day in a row Boone County's hospital status is green. It had been yellow since November 10th, so that's encouraging news. The green status indicates hospitals in the county are operating within licensed bed capacity and accepting patient transfers from referring hospitals. For our Spanish-speaking viewers, join us tomorrow on our KOMU 8 Facebook page, where we'll be joined live with infectious disease expert Dr. Christian Rojas. The live stream will start at 3 p.m. If you have any questions about the COVID-19 vaccine that you would like answered in Spanish, you can submit those questions on the pinned post on our Facebook page, KOMU 8 News. Nationally, President Biden's executive order requiring anyone on public transportation to wear a face mask goes into effect tomorrow. Masks will be required in airports, on planes, trains, ferries, buses, taxis, and rideshare cars. The Department of Homeland Security declared a national emergency today that allows the TSA to enforce the mask requirement. Another stimulus check might be heading your way. A group of 10 Republican senators asked President Biden to meet to come up with a compromise for a relief plan. President Biden's plan would include a third round of stimulus checks and a national vaccine program at a cost of $1.9 trillion. Both plans would include a stimulus check, but the Republican group's package would be smaller, around $600 billion. Republicans say they believe it can win bipartisan support.
We've been engaging with members of Congress from both parties and both houses over the course of the last week or two. We'll continue to do that as we go forward. And the president has said repeatedly he is open to ideas, wherever they may come, that we could improve upon the approach to actually tackling this crisis.
The Republican plan details are set to be revealed tomorrow. Well, in a week, the Chiefs are going to be playing in that Super Bowl. The CDC released guidelines on how you can stay safe for the big game. While the safest way is to watch Super Bowl 55 at home, the CDC is offering recommendations for those who decide to leave their own couch. There are a few things you can do that might help protect you, like using noisemakers instead of cheering, arriving early to avoid crowds, and using touchless payment methods. Well, small businesses have been hit especially hard during the pandemic. Ahead for us tonight, how some Mid-Missouri small businesses are getting some extra support. Well, take a look at this, Kenton. Tonight, millions of Americans are seeing snow from a widespread storm system. You've been talking about this one.
Yeah.
And we're taking a live look over John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. That's on the left side of your screen, and on the right, that's the scene right now in Center City, Philadelphia. Look about right for what you've seen on the radar, Kenton.
Yeah.
That snow's been falling most of the afternoon. It's not just the Northeast, but it's spreading from where? The Great Lakes all the way to New England, expected to bring several more inches of snow. And in Washington, D.C., people marked the first major snow in 2 years with a snowball fight over the National Mall. Organizers call it the Great Snow Awakening, and it brought out a pretty big crowd. People of all ages out there playing in it, having a good time. It was put on by an organization called the Washington, D.C. Snowball Fight Association.
Emily, I like that because it's something you can do safely, and plus the masks actually keep your face warm when it's cold outside.
A Snowball Fight Association.
Do
we have one in Mid-Missouri? Never heard of this before.
I'll be the president. I'll do it.
There you go.
I'll create it. One thing we're also going to want to do is have our masks on for next weekend.
Moving on this evening, the military in Myanmar has taken over the country for 1 year. Earlier today, the country's leader was detained in a raid. The move follows days of escalating tension between the civilian government and the powerful military, stirring fears of a coup. Phone and internet access to the capital were down overnight. A military spokesman did not answer phone calls seeking comment. 10 of Peru's 25 regions began a lockdown today due to the rapid rise of COVID-19 cases in the country. Peru's president announced a lockdown last week after admitting to a lack of ICU beds for patients in critical condition across the country. The Peruvian government expects the first 1 million doses of China's COVID vaccine in the next few days. Peru has taken part in the vaccine's clinical trial. The vaccine has yet to be approved by Peruvian regulators. Kenton.
Coming up next, I'm going to have the latest Show Me Climate report talking about a recap of winter so far and some trends we've been seeing for next week.
Well, we already showed you some of that snow that hit D.C. Check this out. That's a panda going down there for a ride. A pair of pandas are making the most out of the snow here. Giant pandas from the National Zoo enjoyed today's snowfall. They got to roll around in it, play a little bit in it. If you can't get enough of the unbearable playtime, the National Zoo has a live panda cam in the exhibit.
Kenton, are there any local groundhogs we should be paying attention to on Tuesday, or what's the scene on that?
You know, I don't know of any local groundhogs. Okay. Ben, one thing that's interesting though, Kansas City on Sunday is going to be potentially in the negative wind chills. Woo! Tampa, by the way, might have some rainfall. Which do you think? Which would have been better for the Chiefs? Do they want the negatives or do they want the rain and the warmth?
I think they'll be okay as long as number 15 shows up and is healthy. That's the main thing that they're looking at. But weather could be a factor, always is in Florida, isn't it? We've got lots coming up here on Sports Extra. No